Hi, welcome to the Sci-Fi Podcast. We have three of my favorite tall, white men here. Would you guys like to introduce yourself?
I had a nickel for every time I had a tall white friend. I'd have 3 nickels.
3 nickels? Who's your third?
That's you.
He is the friend.
Yeah.
We have to be friends to ourselves.
It's true. Self-care, self-love, something like that. But we have Ethan, we have Noah, Josiah, and we just watched the movie. How to Train Your Dragon. And we train dragons. But before we talk about the movie, I have a little game. We all know the website IMDb, correct? Before movies come out, they like to release summaries of movies. And oftentimes they're pretty bad. And so, I want each of you to try to guess what the summary is. To craft a summary in the thought of IMDb. And whoever gets it closest, I'm going to speak on their opinions first on the movie. This is a one-sentence summary of this movie. A one-sentence summary. That stare that Ethan's giving.
I think like the biggest question is just, is it acknowledging that it's a remake? Because I think that like absolutely hinges, like totally influences.
I will not give you...
No, yeah, I wasn't expecting you. I wasn't expecting you to.
Accurate, I would say.
I think my guess would be something along the lines of like in this live action retelling, watch the adventures of Hiccup and Toothless as they are like in How to Train Your Dragon or something. Something like very bland, but like acknowledging that it's a remake and it has all the characters that you like.
Okay. No, Ethan?
Mine would be something along the lines of Hiccup struggles to earn the respect of his village when suddenly he makes an unexpected friend that changes everything.
That's good. That changes everything. All right, Noah, bring us home.
Mine was just going to be like, young Hiccup, nobody likes him. But then he finds a dragon and he learns and he trains it.
He does the title.
Yeah.
And scene.
He trains a dragon.
Okay, I thought Ethan's was the best, but Josiah's the closest.
Yeah. Ethan's was the best for context.
Was the best. Changes everything. IMDb says, as an ancient threat endangers both Vikings and dragons alike on the Isle of Berk. Ugh. The friendship between Hiccup, an inventive Viking, and Toothless, a night fury dragon, becomes the key to both species, forging a new future together. I feel like you had the because of in a world, these two people do things.
But it doesn't acknowledge that it's a. It doesn't acknowledge.
No, it doesn't at all. So,
interesting.
Yeah, but Josiah, since you won our game, overall thoughts on this movie, sir?
I feel like very uncontroversially, I liked it, which I was expecting to. Like, because of all of the media I had seen, it looked so like the original that I wasn't expecting there would. Like, I didn't see any red flags from the trailers. Yeah, broadly speaking, I really enjoyed it. I think it was really fun to watch in the theater. I think there was a lot of fun, like, good, funny moments, and there was good, like, heroic, cool moments. How deep should I go on this initial pass?
That's good. Wait, okay, before we keep going, I want to know, like, how much of How to Train Your Dragon fans are we? Because I know, like, Noah's...
I have disgusting amount of knowledge about this. Like, a really... gross amount.
Give us your quick resume, like a quick half-pager.
I read all the books. I watched all the movies. I've seen the show. Incredible. And I had one of those hobbies as a kid where I made my own encyclopedia of the dragons and drew my own maps.
Wait, oh my goodness. Okay, we need to, in the description, cool. We need a link to PDFs of Noah's maps.
Wait, that's so cool.
Oh my goodness. So we have a true one here. What about Ethan and Joe?
I have seen all 3 movies multiple times. I've read a few of the books, but not all of them, and I don't remember them super well. Haven't seen any of the shows. Have now 2 How to Train Your Dragon t-shirts.
Dude.
So that's a win.
Yeah. So we're recording this right now, this is May 6th, so it's maybe 5 weeks before it's out to the public. So shout out USC Fight On, I guess.
Huge.
But yeah, I've watched all 3 movies as well. I think that I've watched maybe the first one twice, the second one twice, and the third one once, when they came out, kind of. And then I'll listen to the soundtrack often, as my steady music. I also like the end credit scenes. No, end credit songs by John Jonesy. Those are pretty fire.
Yeah, probably very similar. I think I watched the first season of the first show, I want to say.
Oh, wow. Was this on Netflix?
I think it had to.
Well,
the first one, it wouldn't have initially
Riders
been
of
Netflix.
Burke was Netflix. The other two weren't. I forget.
Cartoon Network.
Yeah, it might have been Cartoon
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I probably watched it on streaming. I have a memory of it, though.
Network.
I've seen all the movies. Unfortunately, the third movie is like I have a really bad memory of because that is one of the very, very few movies. Because I hate doing this, but I saw that movie after like I think I had like a sleepover at a friend's house, so I was like really tired and just dozed off at times during it, which is really unfortunate because I hate doing that and it's really rare for me. Like I have a very hard time not staying awake for movies, but I've obviously seen the other two probably multiple times.
And
Definitely the first one.
you haven't seen the third one since then?
I haven't seen the third one.
So you haven't seen like the full third movie, huh?
You'll enjoy it on the rewatch.
I remember enjoying it. Like I don't remember there being any part that I didn't like.
Yeah, the 30 minutes you watched.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, no, I remember. I remember the important emotional parts of it.
Okay.
I just don't really remember like the plot as much, but I remember all the like big emotional beats. I feel like. I think as far as DreamWorks goes, like I've always leaned Kung Fu Panda trilogy over How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, even though I think it is
It's still just
a very. I think the opinion that the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy is better is like a very fair point.
Yeah.
I just think I've leaned Kung Fu Panda over the years, so that's probably part of why I haven't rewatched those ones as much. But
Okay.
I have only positive memories of them.
All right. So Noah, our resident expert, your like tweet length review of the movie.
Tweet link review. I would honestly give it. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Incredible adaptation. I don't know. I guess it was just because I saw the animated one literally the day before, so it's like I feel like I just saw this movie. So it made it like the dialogue didn't hit the same because like I've heard this before. But yeah, I think it's fair like to say that the animated one's better. I don't think that's a hot take at all.
Sure.
And I think that's fine. I think it's fine. I think that the movie did exactly what it intended to do. It was just be a faithful adaptation. The one interesting thing though is I wish like it did more. Like I wish like I don't know, they expanded on some stuff because I feel like we've gotten used to like adaptations going completely the other direction.
Yeah.
And they just completely ruin and like just do their own thing and it's like usually it doesn't go well. But this one was like shot for shot, like 90% of like
a lot of the same jokes
It was the exact same.
Yeah.
And I think that was fine. I just wish that like it expanded on like certain scenes a little bit more.
I really enjoyed it a lot. I think the main things that I enjoyed were the scale. The scale was probably my favorite element of it. Just the dragons are bigger. The environment even feels bigger. The humans just feel dwarfed in comparison to everything else, and it's all big and beautiful, which I'm a big fan of. And seeing that in the theater paired with the score just made for like a very intense experience, I would say, which was awesome. I was a big fan of that. And so same with the speed. Like when they're flying around on the dragons, it feels very fast. The way that they do the camera work. So I enjoyed that a lot as well. That was probably the biggest element that I enjoyed about this, and maybe something that I would throw in as being better than the animated one. Obviously, that's like an easy thing to change when you're doing the live action with retrospect and hindsight, obviously. But and then I think something that I enjoyed about the comedy was there was a bit more physical comedy in this one. I felt like the characters' expressions were really funny, and they like played off of those a lot. I think that Gerard Butler does a really good job because he's like, the same actor who was in the animated ones, and he makes a lot of the same jokes, but he makes a lot of different expressions because he like is in live action now, so he does a good job of distinguishing his live action character from his animated character almost a little bit, which is kind of fun. Everything that they added, which wasn't a ton, but everything that they added I enjoyed. I think my one of the things that I was most happy with was I was a big fan of the actress. I forget what her name is, but for Astrid, I was a big fan of her performance.
Yeah.
Nico Parker.
Nico Parker was good.
I was a big fan of her performance. I thought she did really well, and I was just kind of rooting for her because what I saw of her in the trailers was positive. But anytime that you do kind of a race switch for an actor, it's always going to come
Especially
with some
actress.
pushback. Yeah. But so I was rooting for her, but I didn't go into the movie with, if she was bad, I would have said that she was bad, like I didn't go in with like, the rooting didn't like cloud my view. I don't feel like she did a good job pretty objectively, I think. So is faithful to the character, but also takes advantage of the advantages of playing a character in live action over animated as well. So yeah, I overall was very happy with it, and I think while there aren't a ton of innovations story-wise, I think that the innovations in the filmmaking are really intriguing, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed them because there are some ways that live action can be limiting compared to animation, but they really took advantage of the ways that live action can further a project and make it better and more intense and more intriguing. So I was really happy with that. I think that was the best part of it, for sure.
I feel like I mostly agree with since it's like the same movie, it's like it's good kind of thing. I think when I was watching the trailers, I feel like whatever few lines that they gave to Astrid, I felt like, this does not feel great. But then I agree. I feel like Astrid was maybe like the one I enjoyed the most, holistically. I think I do agree with your just the speed and physicality and velocity of the flying scenes. But I think there's some of them where it feels like we have backdrop image of a plate that we shot, and then they're just kind of floating around here super fast, and I feel like in my mind I wanted some more money shot flying shots where I can clearly see their faces, where I feel like there's iconic moments in the first flight and then also the ending flight where you see Toothless, how the first flight, it ends in the original animated movie of Hiccup going yeah, and then he Toothless shoots, and then boom, then he has that face where he's burnt and stuff, and there's a cute funny little thing cut to next scene, which they didn't have in this one.
Yeah, they did.
But different little iconic shots where I can see them clearly, this could be a still frame that you put on Hollywood Reporter or whatever. These are all random nitpick things. I thought sometimes Hiccup's hair looked great great in a bad ugly messy way, great, and then sometimes I was bro has pipe cleaners coming out of his head, which I just thought was funny. But yeah, I also thought I feel the little budding romance between Astrid and Hiccup was more believable in this one than the animated film.
Yeah,
which I was I kind of like it.
Me too.
I don't know how old they are, so I don't know if it's whatever, but I enjoyed that.
They look
supposed to be 15.
Yeah, I was gonna say they look.
Okay, yeah.
They look that old.
Which they look young. I think, and I guess this goes into the more Hiccup casting thing. I thought his voice was too low. I thought he was too tall, and I thought he looked too mature already. I think maybe something with the scaling size of him and Gerard Butler. There were some shots where they're almost the same height kind of thing, and in the original movie he's towering over him, and
yeah, the whole gimmick, he's the runts.
Yeah.
He looks like a pretty built guy already. He doesn't look like he'd be that helpless.
I think he looks like the cool kid, and the other fish legs and fools they look like bums, Yeah. So I was are these really the cool kids? Is Hiccup? No way, Hiccup, bro, Hiccup would get that girl, Ain't no way Shorty, Mr. 4'5". What's his name? Snotlight was gonna get Nico Parker.
That is kind of the bit from the animated movies, though, especially because for some reason, when you get to the third movie, there's still even though he's chief of the village and has done all these incredible things for the village, they're still bullying him for being lame and a loser. And it's bro,
He's not.
the entirety of the three movies has been making it clear that you guys are the real losers, right? And he's epic and cool. So I think, I don't know, it didn't bother me as much just because that is kind of the bit generally, is he's super cool and likable, and the village just bullies him because he has a different way of thinking, whereas the other ones are kind of actually the losers. They play into it with they got held back from doing the dragon training 4 times or whatever joke. They're not cool, but he also says in the beginning of the movie that they are cool, and it's just more because they fit in. They're like sheeple, They like,
Sheeple.
They conform.
So I guess that brings up the question: what did we think about Hiccup, Mason Thames? Did he work?
I liked him.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think, to your point, like, I think something I've become aware of in rewatching this version was I think I don't like that many of the characters in the original, because I think as a kid, like watching them, I think like they're good characters. I just think like in the first movie, like a lot of them are kind of like portrayed as being unlikable, like not even unlikable, either like unpopular, like either they're unlikable to the other characters or they're like legitimately unlikable.
I think that's fair.
So it's like I think when I watched it as a kid, I never really knew who to position myself as. So I liked that it was a little bit clearer of like, oh, Hiccups, like, which I know this isn't the original, but like, like Hiccups just like kind of like, he's basically bullied for being like the smart kid, like he's just like inventive. And he's like scrawny compared to all the other Vikings who are like super either buff or just like big, like taller, whatever. I liked his performance. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot actually.
I think what tripped me up in the beginning was like, I feel like the monologue was so much not what I was expecting. Because I feel like there's just like sometimes where his voice sounds like Jay Baruchel's voice. Like there's a little bit, and then other times it's like he just got like this deep, like pubescent voice. But then I think once like he grew on me a lot as the movie went on, and as like I'm seeing him like physically move and like do things. And I thought that was good. And like I think there's like some physical gags with him, like of him like falling down and being like. I think part of what was funny was like, oh, he's kind of like a big or ish dude, or like I don't know, like a normal size dude, like getting pushed around by like a dad who's definitely in like 6 layers of clothing, But I thought it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked him. Obviously, he does look like Hiccup. I think the only thing is like he looked like physically way cooler than like he was made out to be. Yeah, because like in the animated, like he literally looks like a stick figure. Like he's so skinny.
Yeah,
he's like half the size of everyone. But in this, he was like bigger than like literally everyone.
He reminds me of like Woody from Toy Story. The way that like in the animated film, like the way his arms move and they're just kind of like
Yeah.
I feel like it'll be less noticeable as the movies go on because he undergoes a pretty quick physical transformation in the animated series.
Yeah.
His appearance in the second movie compared to the first movie is pretty drastic.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they're gonna expedite this and have the second one out in like 2 or 3 years. And
I think the second one was announced for 2027.
Yeah, they're already in production.
Yeah.
And also, I don't blame him because like with pubescence, like I assume when they cast the kid, he was like probably like a lot younger and like something with like Percy Jackson, right? Like I feel like between the first episode and the last episode of like the first season, like he looked a lot like different just because of age,
Yeah, they did. I've seen those memes where they like do the voice comparisons of him in the beginning.
He's like,
oh wow.
It's like, I'm Percy Jackson.
How old is Mason Thames?
He's 17.
He's 17?
Yeah, he was actually like 15 or 16
when they shot it, huh?
Yeah, he's just a Chad.
Oh wow! Oh my god!
He's just a Chad. Like,
dude,
good genetics.
Yeah. So I don't really put it on the
legitimately the age Hiccup was like in the animated.
Dang.
What do you guys think about Toothless and just kind of like his characterization and like how he looked, how he moved, how he felt?
I loved it. I thought it was like so good. But yeah, I really liked him.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
I was he's like RTX on. Like, he's just like better graphics. It's a good blend of like realism and like and the playfulness that he had in the animated.
I just think it was like really believable, which I think to me that's the like
they
thing
look
of
good
success.
Together,
like, because like obviously when you have a dragon who's like not real.
Wait, what?
There's like
it's not real.
There's a I think difficulty in like making it emote well but also like move well, and that was the thing where I felt like Toothless moved so well, which was like the really exciting thing for me. Like I loved how he moved and like bounced around and like it felt so much like a real animal to me that I think that was like just so fun to watch. I like just really latched onto him of like, oh, I love this like animal. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thankful that they at least kept him like faithful to what he looked like in the animated one. Because if you look at the other dragons, they just got like the Sonic the Hedgehog. And look like lizards.
Way too realistic.
Like if Toothless looked like that, it would have been awful. But like it worked for the other dragons, but I'm glad at least Toothless stayed pretty much the same.
Yeah, I think they nailed his eyes. And like I think his like smile looked like it was like good but more realistic, and like it's still goofy, and I like that. I like that. Like not related to Toothless, but like the big dragon at the end, his like teeth were like cool, and just like when Astrid was like going in and like, just, like which I think that was a new addition, right? Like,
that was.
I was like, that was cool, and I think that goes to like the size and scale thing of like homie's like shorter than like his tiny teeth, you know?
Yeah.
I agree. That was good. That was good.
On that, like the scene when Hiccup has to fight the monstrous nightmare, I'm like, no way. Like they just like annually send like kids in to fight like these dragons, like they would all die. Like it makes the monstrous nightmare like so much more scarier and cooler.
Yeah.
Than it was in the anime.
Yeah.
He was huge.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
Absurd.
And just on fire immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are cooked.
Yeah. Okay. Best moment of the film for you? Peak, like the peak moment.
Two moments come to mind. I think the first one is they do a great job of establishing Astrid. Astrid's intro scene is incredible. It's already good in the original, you know, when she like kind of walks out of the fire. But in this one, it's just even better. Like I won't spoil it because I think people should see it when they see it, the specifics of it. But it's great. Very, very good.
I think she's just generally like way more likable in this one.
I agree.
Like I really liked her in this movie. Compared to like the original, I feel like I just don't.
She's just kind of mean in the original.
Yeah, like she's just like
They do a good job of
like she's really believable.
They do a good. It's a very small detail, but they make a small addition to her motivations that I think is really effective.
So
that scene was.
I think we're cool to talk spoilers because like whatever, but like she like I think the scene where she's like, oh, like I came from nothing, I have no like chief nepotism or whatever. Like that was
she
neat,
like
right?
wants to.
That dialogue.
Yeah.
Is original to this.
And I thought that was good because like before she was just like mean just to be, I don't know, because she is that kind of girl. But no, I thought that was good. Yeah.
More real and believable why she didn't like him initially. It's not just like her conforming to the rest of the, and it also made her switch up more believable because.
But she also
she's
just
not
wasn't
like a
like
conformist as much.
She wasn't just like mean to him though. Like I think when she was like trying to get him to like lock in, like it felt really like I understand where she's coming from. It's not like she's being mean. It's just like
she's just like
she like wants this way more than everyone else, which like that's a good characterization.
Like him not caring and being able to not care because he has the nepotism, where she has to work for everything. So she, you know, he's still gonna have influence and power as like the son of the chief if he like just slacks off and doesn't care. Whereas she needs to, so she's frustrated with him not walking in that way. But that was a standout scene.
I think one of the scenes that they added, I'm not sure if this is right. I'm just looking to know every single time I talk about a difference. But like I think in the arena they have like the old witch lady voodoo predictor person like. They'll point to each person and they're like, oh, like, no, you're not the top slayer, you're not the top slayer. And I think, that was not in the original one, right?
That is, but it's very different.
It's a little different, right? Because, like, I think they, like, hung on that shot of, like, Astrid for a while, like, when she realized she's not going to be picked. And I feel like that, like, humanizes her more because, like, oh, like, she wants it, but, like, there's, like, a softness to her, like, oh, like, she, like, I, like, was disappointed, didn't get what I wanted. Like, so, like, I agree. Like, it felt for her. But,
yeah, that shot wasn't animated. It was just, like, them picking who they want, but it was little tweaks.
Sure, yeah.
Sorry. But you said her intro, right?
Yeah. They really set her off on the right foot, which I feel like is important because she's going to be controversial just because of the race switch. So like setting her up with a really great opening scene for her character is important, like getting people off on the right foot in terms of liking her and being into her character, and that was really good. And then I think it goes back to the scene when he's in the arena. The monstrous nightmare is super cool. Looks almost like a Harry Potter dragon or something. Super. Looks like dragons from like normal other fantasy movies, but is super intimidating, and that's really cool. I don't know what it is about the way this movie went too, but for some reason I was more into the plot of him trying to like befriend the dragons. I think that I don't know, it's just something about the progression of, because I think it's because they're scarier Like, and it's almost more powerful that he can see the good in them, because they're not like these cute animated characters as much. They're still cute, and their cuteness is preserved for a lot of them. Like, I was talking post-movie about how I thought that the like big potato-looking ones are really cute.
Oh, what are they called?
The Gronkles.
Yeah, the
Those
Gronkles
are
are really cute.
Potatoes.
But I think because they're so terrifying, it makes more sense why the Vikings would be afraid of them, because almost sitting there in the audience, I was, more afraid of them than in the animated one, where they're just like, big lizard, big cute lizard. I was just thinking about, if someone did that in real life, like after the monstrous nightmare just like totally like frightened the entire crowd and almost burned them to death, like he had the wherewithal and the mental presence to like still try to befriend that like horrifying, scary dragon. Like, that was pretty cool. Really liked that.
The Monstrous Nightmare is like the big red one, right?
Yeah.
It sets itself on fire.
I don't remember like in the original movie, but it feels like when Toothless comes in, it's just like smoke, and then we just see like, right? We're like, do we see like Toothless like really fight him?
A little bit.
But I feel like in the live action, like they gave him like a good like sequence of like him beating up, and like seeing the Night Fury in action, like just like I think the scale of power and just like ability of like seeing like a sleek Night Fury just like kind of beat the crap out of the red guy. I was like, that was cool. I was like,
Toothless is small in the animated, but he's like even smaller, I feel like, in this compared to the other dragons. Like, his small size is even more noticeable because the other dragons are so big.
Yeah. What about you guys? Peaks in the movie, best parts.
I really like the test drive scene where you get to hear like the main like theme song for the first time. I think it was really cool. I like what you were saying about like you kind of get to like see the speed of it, and it's like, wow, this is dope, this is sick. And like music hits, especially like because I've never heard the music in like the theaters before, so it was just like it was epic. And also the final battle was pretty dope. Like the dragon, the big like queen one, kind of reminded me of like Game of Thrones kind of dragons, just flamethrower, just lit everything on fire. Also, like a super nerdy cut is the dragons in the live action, they like have this like green gas that they breathe out before they light it on fire, which is usually like the only thing the zibblebacks have, because like the zibbleback.
Yeah, one is the green gas and one.
So that's like an interesting addition. Like all the dragons do that now.
Yeah, I liked that. For a second I was like, does Toothless have poison or like?
No, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just their way of saying like they breathe that out and then they spark it and just
they're like charging.
It's just, I guess, more gas for the zibbleback, which I think is interesting.
I really liked the flight with Astrid. I think I liked it maybe more than in the animated, because I think like putting her on like the like cliff ledge or whatever was like so funny.
Yeah.
And like I think that was just like that felt like everything was working at all cylinders. Like Toothless was great, and I love like his expression in that scene, because it was like it once again it just felt super real. Bless you. And like I think Astrid's character development somehow felt believable to me, even though she like flips on a dime. It's not right. Like there's time that passes, and then like I think Hiccup was good.
I think in that scene, like when she's
and like
on
the banter was good. Like
seeing her and Toothless reconcile is also really cool, especially because that's played a lot more through their expressions.
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah,
like you kind of see their attitude towards one another change just in their like facial expression after they like have a moment where she is sorry for how she's treated him, and because she realizes, because Hiccup's not in control, she's like, oh, he's mad at me because of what I did, I'm sorry. And then they like reconcile, and then the flight afterwards is super pretty.
Exactly.
And super like
exactly.
Oh, it's so cool.
I think the other scene I liked a lot was I really liked the dragon training montage when it starts going to like Hiccup like rapidly getting reputation. I thought it was so fun and like funny. Like I remember there's like the first time that he like sits down and everyone like switches tables. Like I know that's in the original, but like something about that just felt way funnier and like.
Dude, Snotlout jumping onto the
yeah,
table
that
and
was
knocking
sick.
over the water.
That was sick.
amazing.
Like I think that's where it just. I was like,
That's
wow,
great.
this feels like such a cool like coordinated effort. Like they really put a lot of time into thinking through like how like is the physicality of this going to be a little bit different now that we're filming it. Like that just felt like such a fun example of that, where I was like, just it was like, yeah, this I love this, and the whole thing I thought was so fun.
I think another thing on the physicality, which I feel like I picked up more on this than like the animated one, was like the aversion of like the Vikings to like touch like the dragons. Like I think like on that cliff thing where like Toothless just chucks Astrid on it, and she's climbing up, and like as like her eyes like reach like the level of the thing, like she sees like Toothless's paw, and like she like recoils a little bit. And I feel like kind of like what Ethan was saying of like, oh, like they're like cute little lizards in animation, but like in real life you're like, oh, like I don't really want to touch this. Like to see like a human hand like that's like scaly thing. Like I think that played to me just like stronger, or it resonated a little bit more. And like when at the end, Gerard Butler, Stoic, whatever his name is, like he touches like Toothless and says like, thank you for saving my son. Like I feel like that, like I just was more aware of that, I guess, and I think that's where like the live action like it plays into it nicer. I think
the physicality of this movie in general across the board is very, very impressive. I think it's one of the strongest attributes of it for sure. I think I just have to get this out while I'm thinking about it, but because Noah mentioned the test flight scene, I think one of the best parts about that is the way that it was shot. You almost feel like you're on the flight as well, like you like because it just like zooms through all the cabins and stuff.
I felt like I
it
was
almost had me
Disney
thinking.
ride.
It had me thinking about like, oh, like what if we had Star Tours, but it was How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, the Universal, dude.
Well, yeah, I guess they're already on Epic Universe.
Yeah, I also thought like Mason Thames, like what started to win me over with Hiccup was like in that montage, like he's obviously not talking too much, but like there's a lot of things where like he does something funny in the training thing, and then everyone just looks at him and he does like a little like quirky like hey, and like runs one way and like asks to run the other way, or like the physical like acting where he's just not saying something but just like doing like I think he embodied the awkwardness of Hiccup. That like the dialogue didn't as much like
that definitely made up for like
Yeah.
the fact that he looked physically cooler.
Yeah.
I also think with
His
that though,
awkwardness.
I like really believed, because I guess in the original, which to be fair, I'm out of this group, I'm in the part that has not seen the original in a little bit, but I feel like I don't remember him making such a fuss about him not really wanting to be a Viking. Like, so I think that
It was
was
more sarcastic in the original than this.
Yeah.
like, I just think it felt really believable to me that like when everyone would swarm him, he would just kind of like freeze, because it was like he like wanted to be popular, but like in this, you know, with how Mason Thames is acting this out, like his desire to be popular is not higher than his like fear of becoming like a dragon killer, which I think was like, I don't know, maybe I just read that now, just it's been a long time, but
Yeah.
Another addition that I really liked was the dynamic between Snarlout and his dad. Which
I like that too.
Which doesn't exist in the animated. His dad's in it, but there's zero connection. Like you would not know that they're like related at all in the animated. So I think that was a good bit. It was honestly funny, but also like sentimental. If you kind of think about it, like Snarlout was seeking approval from his dad, and then his dad sees his bravery in the end of the final battle,
Yeah.
and like is proud of
And
him.
then like puts his hand on him too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like it felt like it seems like all the kids want like to become a Viking like their parents, like to be a peer, to be a soldier, or whatever, and like like that to me felt like everyone's like, oh, like we're both watching, I don't know, Hiccup fly or whatever. Like I think it was good.
Yeah.
Okay, was the like warrior girl with like kind of red hair that went on like the voyage with Stoic, was that Astrid's mom or no?
No,
Because she was cheering for Astrid.
That's an original character.
Okay, so that was a new homie.
I mean, maybe I don't know. You'd have to look at the casting,
Okay.
like description,
Yeah.
but I don't think so.
There was someone cheering for Hiccup too, and
Okay, yeah.
and especially given what Astrid said in her like her monologue in the
dining room.
like it led me to believe that she maybe didn't have parents anymore.
Yeah, her parents aren't there. Yeah.
So like
Not relevant.
because I was wondering the same thing.
Okay, so we've talked about like a lot of things that we do like. What do we not like? What maybe didn't work as well in the movie?
I don't think the dialogue, very specific scenes, but like I don't think the dialogue always hit the same. Because some of it, like it just came across well in the animated because like they're voice actors, that's their job.
Yeah.
So the dialogue's gonna sound good. And also probably because I literally had just seen the animated before. So when I heard the same thing again, it's like I heard it one way, and now I'm hearing the same line again, and it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't sound the same, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I had that complaint about, like, I think my favorite line in the original movie, I think I told you this, like, my favorite line is, like, thanks for nothing, you useless reptile. And like, just the way that Jay Baruchel said, like, it's amazing, and, like, I love that quote. And then, I don't know, it's just, like, it was delivered differently.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe, like, I can, like, give props for them to, like, try a different cadence. And, like, I don't know, like, if Mason Thames tried to do the exact same thing, like, I probably would be sitting here being like, well, like, he tried, but it wasn't, like, I was, you know, funny or whatever, but, like,
yeah.
Go into that. I thought I know that in the animated one, there's, like, that old lady who, like, kind of sometimes watches, like, the dragon training stuff, but, like, this time she's more of, like, a fortune teller deciding person.
Yeah.
I like, was waiting for that to be, like, more of a thing, but it just felt like, oh, like why, kind of.
Yeah, like a one-off.
Yeah.
Just, like, to put her in there. It was kind of weird. I think we could have done without, like, the scene where Stoic asks her if, like, it's possible for them to, like, find the dragon's nest, and she, like, does some fortune-telling thing, and then is like, yeah, and they're like, oh, like, and he's like, oh, okay, like, we're gonna go then. Like, I think we could have done without that. It seemed kind of unnecessary. I did like her, like, on the abacus, like, counting their points. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
That was a cool addition for her character, but, like, the fortune-telling aspect was just like, why? Like, you know, there's a lot of, like, fortune-telling in modern movies, and it's just always like, why?
Actually, I disagree. I like that. I think that was maybe one of my favorite additions. Because, like, the way that it came off to me was, like, Stoic is this guy who, like, he believes who he is. He's a Viking. He goes kills dragons, right? And, like, it almost feels like, oh, someone told me my future. This is destiny, and I'm gonna go fulfill it because that's what we need to do. And right, like, that gives, like, I think a stronger thrust to him. Like, we have to go to the cave or nest or whatever. We have to, like, kill whatever. We have to do this, which, like, puts him more at odds with Hiccup. So, like, I like that in terms of, like, ramping up the opposing forces there. And I don't know. I thought that worked well for me. Like, I enjoyed that.
I think my only, like, it's less of even a nit. It's not like a true criticism, but I think I would be really interested to see what this movie is if it felt the freedom to go a little bit further away from the animated movie. Because I think my favorite adaptations, or not even adaptations, like remakes, because this is effectively a remake as much as it is an adaptation. It's remaking something that already exists in a very similar way. And, like, my favorite kind of, I think, remakes often have that, like, oh, like, the filmmakers remembered this is different and they're playing with that concept. Which I get it's not like that. I get that it's like...
What would you change? What would you make different? Also, a question for Noah, too, I think, because, like, you know this stuff inside and out. And
I think, like, the, like, fun opportunity would have been, like, killing a major character off. Like...
By Hiccup.
Like, in a... Like, I think killing a major character off using a dragon. Like, to really sell, like, oh gosh, these things are deadly. Because, like, you don't really see them kill anyone.
Yeah.
I think part of the thing I liked as well was, like, I think this movie, this iteration of it, now, like, is lodged in a totally different area of my brain. Like, I don't think of this as, like, what's, like, an animated, like, family movie I like. I think of this much more of, like, what's, like, a Viking fantasy movie I like. Which often has different things in it. Like, it'll go darker or something, which I think this does a little bit. Like, I think there are parts where tonally it feels a little bit more serious, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it would have been interesting if they, like, fully went that route. But I don't know if it would have worked, so that's why it's like, I think it's not like a great criticism. It's just like I'm
interested.
Like, I'm curious as
it's
like
kind
a
of like
nitpick.
it's kind of like how, like, you're sometimes like tempted to get a haircut because you're like interested in what you'll look like if you get a haircut, but you know you can't reverse it. Like it's like a weighty decision.
Yeah.
So it's like if we got the other version of the movie, it may have been worse. So it's just more of like that curiosity of like, I'm not gonna ask for. I don't want it badly enough to actually change it, but I'm still like have that curiosity lingering.
I totally agree. I would have at least liked to see just a little bit more changes than there were, but I wouldn't go as far to say as killing someone off because I feel like that would change the whole
Killing people off at the hands of dragons happens plenty in the next.
Yeah, and also it's PG, so there's only like so much they can actually do.
That's fair.
Like that.
Yeah. No, you're spot on.
So yeah, like rating issue would be, yeah. But one thing I would like to see change is more time between Hiccup and the friends to just kind of like flush out that a little bit more. Because that was a complaint I had in the original, where it's just like these characters are just like annoying, like, and they don't really like. There's no like resolution with their character quirks or whatever with Hiccup. Also, more time like with the friends learning how to ride their own dragons. Because I know like it only happens like overnight, but at least like a couple more scenes just expanding on that. Because I feel like that's always kind of rushed.
Yeah, I feel that. Like they like Snotlout goes from like touching the dragon first to like being like, oh, let me like flying across the ocean and jump off and really cool and like slam stuff. I feel like they did like add a lot more to each of like the inner dynamics between the friends, like already, which I enjoyed. I think those were probably like the most funny moments of the movie for me.
I want more dragon training in the How to Train Your Dragon movies.
Dude, yes please, yes.
Train the dragon.
Did you like Gobber? Because I think like in the animated film, like I think Gobber might be like my favorite part because he's just like so funny and his like Scottish accent, like Craig Ferguson is great. What did we think about Nick Frost?
Definitely a different vibe. I probably prefer the animated over, but I think this was a nice new flavor of Gobber.
I'm just like I'm on a Nick Frost high right now because of
Cornetto, show the
Skeleton Crew.
Never mind.
And so it was just like SM33 all over again.
Yeah.
So I was like, woo.
Yeah, no, I feel very similarly. Like, I love Nick Frost, so I don't know. This is great casting. Like, I think it's terrific. I just think, like...
Can't say I remember the book.
I think maybe similarly, they could have let him forge his own version of the character a little bit more because it's a different actor, and, like, Nick Frost is, like, incredibly funny.
I feel like they could have let him improv a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But I liked him. I think I definitely related to him as like wow, this guy is kind of like the rest of us more. I don't think I got that as much from the original, where like some of the scenes where like he's like empathizing with Hiccup, like especially when he leaves the house, like when he's like yeah, like you get a sense of like he wants to be like the Vikings as well, and so he leaves to give him space. Like that felt very like, oh yeah, this guy's like a dude like the rest of us. But I think at the same time, there's less of like the comedy and just funny characterization that he has in the original.
Would you say this movie's funnier than the original?
No.
I feel like certain characters are funnier.
Yeah.
I feel like Snotlout plays funnier.
Yeah.
When like in the original he plays like a douche.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
he's good. He's super good.
I don't know who that actor is, but I'm like I kind of like it because like it feels like he's a jerk, annoying person, but he also like it's like fully aware by everyone in the movie that he's like a bum, which I enjoyed.
Yeah,
they give
he's
a little bit more
great.
depth in this one.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of how Flash is portrayed in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Dude,
I was getting Spider-Man vibes the entire
looks
time.
like him.
Yeah,
too.
and
He
it's
looks
like which is great
the
because
actors
I think
look
that
very
is like
similar.
he's great in this movie.
He was Flash. Fishlegs was Ned. Astrid is freaking MJ.
Yeah.
And then Hiccups Peter, and then the twins are who cares?
No.
But no, I was feeling that too. I was like, man, like this feels like something.
Very similar vibes.
Yeah. Do we ship Hiccup and Astrid?
I definitely prefer it in this movie, as you said. Believable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm interested to see like how their dynamic changes and grows in the next films, because I think it's really good like in the animated movies, just like
Yeah.
with their relationship.
Yeah.
So I hope the live actions do it justice.
Yeah, it does need to get better because it gets better. Like by the third movie, their dynamic is incredible. So one of the best relationship dynamics in animated films, I think. Very realistic to, I don't know, at least what I would want a relationship to look like, I think. They like love each other, but they're also like best friends, and they like, I don't know, like have inside jokes, and they like kind of mess with each other a little bit, and they're very playful, and it's very nice.
And I don't know if this was in the animated one, but like I liked when they flew into the final battle. Hiccup was like, "All right, Asher, you're leading. Call the shots," kind of thing. Which I don't know if that was the same in the animated.
They seem, yeah, at the end of the
seemed like
movie,
that was a more of an emphasis, like Asher.
they seem to understand each other's strengths very well and rely on each other for those strengths, which is nice.
The kisses were good. The theater went crazy. I would have stood up and clapped if I was older. But
I know there's like big reactions to like the flight scene with Astrid and Hiccup, and then like the end was like no. I was like no. The little kid saw Hiccup fall.
yeah, I feel like it's gonna play great. Like when it comes out in theaters, I feel like it's gonna play great.
Yeah. I think this will
Because like our theater was popping. I also think like because like we're in like the exact age range for it. Like it's
Oh,
kinda, like,
we
15
are the
years old.
target audience.
We were like the and
100%.
like okay, how much money do you guys think this is gonna make on the box office?
What's normal now?
It's a great question.
Is it going to cross $1 billion? I think is the big question.
I don't know if it's gonna cross $1 billion.
What is coming out near it? It comes out close to F1, I think.
Oh.
And wait,
feel
it's
like-
June 16th?
June? Yes.
Yeah, the mid-June, yeah.
Is
I think it's June 13th.
Fantastic Four and
Fantastic
Superman
Four is
both in
July.
July?
July.
Yeah.
It's first for July. It's Jurassic World, then Superman, then end of July is Fantastic Four.
Okay, F1's June 27th.
It is a good window. Because this is like pretty ideal, I think, for a family
This is
movie.
June 13th.
Yeah. So this is June 13th, and then
I think though people will be less inclined to see it in theaters only because it is so similar and like that.
That
opinion is
hasn't
gonna make
stopped
its rounds.
other
Yeah,
ones,
like
though.
look at like The Lion King or
Yeah, that's true.
Which I do think it is important to say that, like, this movie is, as far as live action remakes go,
one of the better ones. but
like,
yeah.
like they did a really good job. Because there's a lot of movies that, like, I think people make the same argument of, like, oh, it's the same movie. Like, I like it as much. Or, like, why wouldn't I like it? When it's like
Kay's argument about Lion King.
yeah.
which is-
That's
which is
exactly
a
what
bad
I was
argument.
specifically meaning.
It's a bad argument.
Yeah, where it's
Like,
like,
oh yes, it's the same movie except worse, and all the animals are uglier.
yeah, it's like no. Like the dragons really, because I think I have like one topical take that I haven't been able to talk about.
Oh,
should I?
Go for it.
Okay. I think this movie is cool because I think this is a production design movie. Did
you like it?
I think this movie was so much fun to me because I was like, wow, all these places look sick, and like I feel like I could be there, and I liked a lot of the spaces better. Like I thought the Great Hall felt a lot cooler to me.
I agree.
Like the lighting was a lot better. I thought the dining area was a lot cooler.
I agree.
I think Hiccups and their house was a lot cooler. Like all of the production design felt so like textured in like a good way, to where it kind of, to me, it would make sense of like if you're remaking the movie, there's only so many things you can do to make it feel distinct, right? It's the same story, same characters, like meaning like from a idea point of view, right? Like, but they could tweak a lot of the like look and feel of stuff. So I thought like the production design just felt like it, like to me it made it feel more like Viking, which I thought I liked a lot, because I think that is like, I don't think of How to Train Your Dragon as a Viking movie. Like I think of it as like a
dragon movie.
Yeah, it's like a dragon, but it's like a dragon movie in like a animated. Like it's just like it's in a different area. So like the fact that you're seeing these like pretty scary dragons, which fit much more with like the more recent lineage of like Thrones and other series, kind of fully leaning into that. Like to me that's just like so cool, and that it's like, wow, I'm seeing like these like really believable scary things. But also just on the flip side, like I thought the overall production design and spaces were like really Like it just felt real to me.
I agree. I feel like we got a lot of shots of like chains uncoiling or like things being clicked into place and stuff like that, and like that made me feel like the same. Like, oh, like, this is like a period piece of fantasy, not just like a fantasy thing.
Yeah.
I think with like some of the first trailers, like you know that one shot of like Hiccup looking up at Toothless and he's about to like touch him or whatever. I remember like that being like maybe my first impression of the movie like 6 months ago when I saw the trailer. And I was like, oh, like that just maybe looks weird. But I feel like it looked pretty good. My main thought was, I think, in the animated movie, the final battle on that island, it's really gray. It's pretty dull. It's pretty not colorful, I guess.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
And I think in this one, they played it in the same way mostly. I think they gave the big dragon a little bit more red.
Yeah, he was.
like.
Yeah.
The design was very different.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was very. Yeah.
And it was a lot more gray, a lot more dull. And I don't know what the vision could be, but I felt like the third act battle could have been more visually something. Especially with like the contrast of like the
I mean,
The dragon
even
blows up
more.
though.
yeah.
When the dragon blows up,
Oh, that was fire. I
that's
like that.
so.
Oh, that was freaking sick. Oh shoot.
But I think like the color stuff to me like it's like cool because at the end like the last like scene where like it's like, oh, Dragon Utopia, like it's very bright, vibrant and colorful, and like maybe that's like part of it. Like, oh, like before
Yeah.
like we were in this dark, gross, musty world of
It's
killing
almost
stuff.
like how Hiccup sees Burke. Like
Yeah.
initially it's like meh.
So I was like, I like that.
It's like
Yeah. On
Yeah.
that, like I wish the flight scene with Hiccup and Astrid was more colorful. Like when they go up into the clouds.
it is.
Like, I feel
it's
like-
kind of colorful at the end though.
Yeah.
With the
I don't know, I
northern
feel
lights.
like
Like,
it was
it's
more of like a
more-
sunset kind of like vibe in the animated movie. I wish it was. I don't know. I just wish it was more colorful, more like visually stunning.
I feel that.
But I just really enjoyed it. Like the production design just felt super good to me. Which I guess for context, I've been like doing a vaguely Viking based project like for this entire semester, so it's on the brain for
Okay,
sure.
okay.
That like I'm noticing like I like the book, dude, like the book, like the dragon book.
I
was
loved
like,
how big it was.
I was like eating that up because like everything was in runes, which like
Yeah.
I was like able to like I don't fully read runes at this point, but I recognized runes. So I was like, okay, this is like actually they're taking like real runes of some kind
So
and
you're
are
saying that's,
making.
like you could actually translate that.
I don't know what language it is.
Mhm.
That would be the issue. Is if it's a Norse or an English or Germanic. But theoretically, you could. Not too hard.
Who do you think had the best beard or hair?
Gerald Butler.
Do you like Stoke? I like his little like red.
Wait, is it Gerald Butler?
Is it?
I thought it was Gerard.
Oh,
Butler.
Gerard Butler.
Yeah. I like the little like red like
Yes.
ties that he had. And I was like, oh, that's cool. At first, I thought it was like a production mistake or something. But, like,
Yeah, I kept seeing it and I was like, is that a ladybug?
yeah, I was like, what is going on here? Yeah, I'm just anti Hiccup's hair in half the shots, but the other half, like when he's flying, it looks good. I think. Yeah. So yeah, any thoughts on how much money it's gonna make? I don't think it'll get over $1 billion
800.
because I feel like
I'm
it's.
saying over 800.
I think Lilo and Stitch is gonna be a more successful like money wise.
I hope not. I don't think it's going to be better.
Ooh. I'm a big Stitch fan.
I think they did a good job with Stitch's design, but I think that the like, I don't know.
They're definitely trying really hard for Lilo.
The trailers have not impressed me too much.
I feel like Lilo and Stitch is the harder pull because you have like your main character is a 5-year-old, so like getting a child actor who can like hit it, is tougher. Yeah, I feel like.
All right, recent like stats worldwide. Minecraft movie has done 875 million.
Oh,
Brave New World did 415.
oh my gosh.
Sinners 240. Somehow Snow White made 202 million.
Snow White made 202.
Yeah, I didn't know that many people watched it. And then
That's not great though. That's like
That's definitely a bomb because it
yeah, it's
$300
still
million.
exactly. That's still a bomb, guys.
Have you guys seen the movie Ninja? It's 2.
Oh, that's like the big China movie.
Yeah, it made a bunch of money. It's already at 1.8 billion. It's literally $1 billion more than second place.
Oh my gosh. I think How to Train Your Dragon can get to 800, 900 grand.
Yeah, I would agree.
But I think there's like the weird thing of like live action movies. Like I thought it was interesting because at our screening there were maybe like 8 to 10 kids, and I was thinking about like these kids were not alive when the original came out.
That is actually ridiculous.
So which, like I looked up, like the first one came out in 2010. So like you have to be 15 to be like born on the day it was. And so like yeah, as I was waiting in line, there's like an 8-year-old kid, like drooling over the Toothless statue, and like the security guard was like, "Are you excited?" And he was like, "Are you kidding me?" I think he said like, he used a big word wrongly. I forget what it was, but like to try to say he was really excited. And I was like, man, you're like 6 years old. Like the whole trilogy was out before you were born. Do you think? Okay, looking down the line, the third one, the Light Fury. Do you think that'll like work as well in live action? Because I feel like a white one, like an albino.
It'll be harder, but like
weirder.
yeah, it'll be harder, but
Yeah, she's like a lot sleeker, and she like doesn't have like the same like rough texture as
Does she have a
Toothless.
name?
No, she's just the Light Fury.
So yeah, I think it's gonna be a little trickier because she's gonna look more cartoony than Toothless does. Which
but
may
they
or may
might
not
also
work.
tweak the design more.
That's true. Yeah.
I think if I think I would believe it if they leaned into like something Lord of the Rings does a lot is like for characters clothed in white, they like really lean into like it being bright, not just like white, but like bright.
Mm.
So if like the Light Fury was like
I mean that works. It's
Like-
lame.
physically like if you like the first time you see her, if she's like radiating light, I think I'd be like, oh whoa, like and you like the camera's like impacted by that, like it'd be like whoa, like and then it sort
I
of
could see
focuses
that,
in. I
yeah.
think that would be more beautiful, but it'd definitely be more of a challenge.
Yeah.
I love his relationship with the Light Fury because I feel like it almost does the reverse of like it's almost like a reverse of the first movie where Hiccup is having to convince the people that the dragons are like good. Like Toothless has to convince her that the people are good. Like it's like it's so interesting. It's cool.
I'm really interested for the second movie how the villain like Drago is gonna work. 'Cause, like that could, I mean, if it's shot for shot, it'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
But that could make or break it. And I'm also excited to see what the Bewilderbeast, like the massive, like
The
dragons
Cloud
are.
Jumper one?
No. You know, like the big, like alpha ones.
Oh yeah, the ice one, right?
Yeah, I'm excited to see what those look like.
I'm very excited, and I think it'll be very important to see who they cast as the mom.
Ooh, okay. Do you have thoughts?
Yeah, that's gonna be
casting
really
thoughts on who the mom could be?
Man, I don't
Well, the
know.
mom is probably already casted.
Oh, probably.
The question is, do we know who it is?
Terry Crews.
I think like
Hiccup, my favorite half black hero.
Rebecca Ferguson. Would that be too on the nose?
Dune take.
I know. I just feel like my thinking is exactly that. That I feel like she's had like a little bit of fame recently, like kind of
Interesting.
being like the de facto mom character.
On the thought of Mission Impossible almost coming out, I thought Haley Atwell. I feel like she like feels motherly enough to be. I don't even know her name, but Hiccup mom. I feel like most white women with brown hair could do it, right?
I'm trying to place how old she is in the first movie.
She's like the same age as Stoic, right? She just was lost for like 20 years.
Does she ever have white hair? Am I like making that up?
White streak, maybe.
Okay.
She's
So-
not a secret villain, right?
Kate Blanchett plays
Yeah, she voiced
her in The Voice, and so people are speculating that she may return to the live action, but not, it's not confirmed.
I feel like Haley Atwell could do it. Rebecca Ferguson could do it. What about I was gonna think about race bending, but that doesn't like make sense at all. I feel like Amelia Clark could do it. No, she
Nah, too young.
She's too young. You're right.
Too young.
How old is Gerard Butler? He's gotta be 60, right?
I really liked him in those.
He's 55.
Oh, he's not that old. What the heck? Every time I saw him, I like just kept thinking he was the guy from White House Down. Yeah. Okay. If we're casting the four of us as Stoic, Hiccup, Astrid, and Toothless, who is who? Out of the four of us.
Why those four?
Those are the four main characters. I feel like Astrid's the hardest one. Who's the Astrid here?
Probably Josiah.
Gulp.
I was gonna say you're
I've been
Stoic,
sentenced to-
you're Astrid, or okay,
That's
Ethan's
it.
Stoic, Josiah's Astrid, Noah's Hiccup, and I'm Toothless.
I like
I
it.
think Josiah and I's friendship is exactly like Stoic and Astrid's
Astrid.
relationship in the movie, for sure.
Throw one line together.
You, how dare you, or whatever. But at the end, she puts like
Astrid's
her hand on his shoulder when he's mourning his son's fake death. that really just reconciled all of it.
Yeah, exactly. They're homies now.
Yeah. Would you watch it again in theaters when it comes out?
Yes, I'm already planning on buying tickets.
Ooh. Would you know?
I don't know. Probably not. I would only go if like my siblings wanted to go with me.
I might watch it twice in theaters.
Twice in theaters?
Yeah.
Bro.
I think I would want to go with friends.
Yeah.
Is this a 3D release? I feel like the
Oh, yeah.
flying scenes could be cool.
That'd be kind of cool in 3D.
What if it's 4D?
I think it'd be interesting to see it again. I think the biggest thing that is like difficult in wanting to go watch it again is just because I know it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like if I watch it again, like I don't know what's gonna.
But you have like you have 5 whole weeks.
Exactly. That's exactly
Which is
why I
kinda-
think.
which is
Yeah.
kinda nice.
Yeah.
And you could even wait a couple of weeks while it's still in theaters. You could go like theoretically 2 months from now
Yeah. No, I think.
and see it in theaters.
I would
That's
like to see it in
a rare
IMAX.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Flying scenes in IMAX would be fun.
it did. Yeah. I would like that.
It'd be dope to see in one of those theaters that have like those
D-box.
Dolby like surround sound.
It's even D-box at the cinema. Every time
You're
we
like
fly-
riding the dragon. It's just like.
The 4D experience.
Wait, what's the what's the format people were seeing Twisters in?
I don't know.
They give you a real gross fish during the scene. You have to eat it. Doing the thing.
You really gotta engage all the senses.
Yeah. I feel like I would like to, whenever it comes out on digital, like side by side, split screen, watch it to see how similar it is. But I don't know. It's good. Any last thoughts? I don't know. I feel like we're all pretty cool. Recommend. Anyways,
It's a good movie.
You should watch
watch it.
Twisters in 40x.
Oh,
Added
40x. I
sensory
got the
elements
Regal.
like wind rain and shaking seats to enhance the viewing experience.
That's sick.
they just like have like gusts of just like shot at your face.
Apparently, there's also this format which provides a 270-degree cinematic experience with screens extending down the theater.
I've heard of that. Like yeah, in certain parts of the movie, they'll like
That's wild.
add scenes here and stuff. I feel like that in a flying scene, I want that. But
I guess this movie kind of maybe the thought that I hadn't fully like concisely expressed is I think this movie illustrates the value of realism in that being like a valuable thing that is valuable equally to like how you animate something. Because I think to me this was like cool in the same way that like when you go to Universal, like seeing the characters or whatever is cool because it's like wow, like this feels so tangible. Like it feels like I get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it kind of redeems the live action genre a little bit because I feel like every time, because animation recently has just exploded in terms of both popularity and just like people redefining what's possible with the genre with like the Spider-Verse movies and with Puss in Boots and with Wild Robot, like all these like insanely beautiful movies. And then when you've remade a lot of these animated movies into live action, they've like pretty consistently been worse and like uglier specifically. And so this is proof of concept that like you can make a live action counterpart that's at least equal to the animated one in a lot of ways and has like elements of the visual nature that are cool and different.
Or maybe, yeah, it's like actually utilizing the live action medium in the same way that you would want, like, and if I was going to make an animated remake of something, you would want, like, the animation to be special in that. Like, I think something I was thinking about in comparing this was, in comparing the two, was, like, the Scott Pilgrim show, and, like, the Scott Pilgrim show does what I love in that, like, without getting into spoilers, it, like, absolutely goes off the rails from what you expect, and that's why it's good. Like, it's good because like in the first episode there's something that happens where you're like, that shouldn't happen, and it like leads you down this rabbit hole, and it's like really fun because of that. But at the same time, outside of all of that, it's fun in that it's like this, it's adapting it from being a graphic novel and being a game and being a movie, to being like an anime, and so like it specifically chooses like an art style that like it could have just been like a more American style 3D animated show, but no, it's like an anime specifically, and like it uses things that come from that medium to enhance things that we know and enjoy already. It like changes the flair of the fight scene, stuff like that, and I think that like on the flip side, this movie just felt nice, and it's like sort of realizing some of the cool stuff that comes from like, wow, it's like you're like realizing the implications of these things being real.
Agreed. Real looking dragon, good. Any last thoughts?
Yes, sorry. Just remember, totally not, there's no like deep, meaningful take like yours, Josiah. But they show dragons in this movie that weren't in the original. They just take dragons that they invent and design in the second one and hide them in as like little Easter eggs in this one. Because in the original, like they literally only had like 6 dragons, just like spam, copy, and paste. Whereas like they just add some of the dragons that exist later on and just establish them in this one, which I thought was a fun little Easter egg for myself.
What was your favorite Easter egg?
I saw the rumble horn, which was the dragon that Stoic later has in the second one. It was cool. It wasn't the same rumble horn, it was just like the species. Also, the big, like the big boss dragon does kind of look like that rumble horn. Like the new redesign. It's like kind of like the weird Triceratops frilled
Yeah.
Yeah.
look. That was it, yeah.
Cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you, boys, for talking about training some dragons. We'll be back in 2027 when the sequel comes out.
Yeah.
And we watch the early screening at USC. Again.
We'll be there.
We'll be there. All right. Well,
When Mason Thames and Nico Parker actually show up this time.
Please.
They're too busy filming the second movie right now.
No, yeah.
First we train, then we dragon. Let's train a dragon.
All right, and on that, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
I am a little disappointed that Jack Burrow never yelled out, "Back dragon, jockey!" And then Ethan starts clapping. Dragon, jockey.